stitching, and I've got a pre-made sample here. First of all, if any of you, before you put your canvas on, if any of you had a dart somewhere in that canvas while we were at the machine pad stitching the chest piece on, make sure you cut out the intake of the dart and put it together kind of like as you've sewed it, but you cut it out, and you will put the tape on it like you were taping it closed and zigzag over it. Does that make sense? Do I need to do an example of that? And see, that keeps it flat because you don't want the bump of a dart intake there, okay? All right, once we have that, you see our sample, we based it, the canvas on there. Now you see this one where I've put tape along the roll line. We're going to hand stitch that tape in place, and then we are going to pad stitch. And you see I'm not going into the seam allowance. I want to make sure. And as I pad stitch, I'm going to show you how to do it, I'm working this fabric out so that it'll stay rolled. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's take our tape again.
Is this for the men's jacket?
But no, it's actually a woman's jacket, but
This is a women's jacket?
it's double-breasted. That's why it looks so big. Okay, I'm going to take my tape, just like we did here. You notice how I did a basting stitch here because especially for a peak lapel, this isn't a peak lapel, but I think I still want to make sure my fabric is distributed on each side of the lapel. Side of the roll line. See, I'd marked my roll line there. I want the tape right on the roll line. And this may not seem like it's very important, but it is. I'm going to anchor the tape there. Oops. I'm going to anchor the tape right here. For the first 3 or 4 inches, I'm going to pull the tape a little so tight. Do you see that? Okay, it's a little tight right there. And then I will continue with the tape down the roll line, and I'm going to stop right at sort of where the seam allowance is. Okay, now the reason I did that here, you notice on a lot of jackets, nobody, Shantae's wearing a jacket with a lapel. Brian, why don't you hold it so we can look at her jacket a minute? The reason I pulled the tape, the reason I pulled that tape a little tighter here, that's so that when you're wearing the garment, that jacket, the gorge line, the roll line, it will hug the body. If you notice, most jackets that are, made production, I mean, if you look very closely, stand up straight, that you'll see this kind of wanting to pull away from the body. It's just what it does. Okay, so that's the reason for that little pulling that tight there to pull it close to the body. Okay? Great. I'm glad you were wearing that jacket. All right. Now at this point, I'm going to start my pad stitching. So let's go to the machine because I need to sew on my knee. And Tim, will you get me that thread over there because I don't